Here we have Primal Muscle MESO FX Formula 454. Now this supplement has some pretty heady claims made about it. So in this video, we're going to take all of these pills. We're going to work out like hell, and we'll see if this has any effect and what effect it has. All right, so first we'll start off by looking at the bottle here. We'll check out the ingredients real quick. So here's the bottle: Primal Muscle MESO FX, formerly known as Mesobolin. This has 168 capsules in it. So let's go ahead and have a rundown of the ingredients real quick here. So first off, one problem I have with this is this would be a proprietary label, meaning that they don't show the exact quantities of each ingredient here. They just show a total quantity, 1,365 milligrams, but we don't have a breakdown of what everything is. That can be problematic because a lot of these substances need to be taken at a certain amount to actually produce an effect. So we don't know that. So that's one problem I have with this right off the bat. But you can see 3 capsules is a serving, 56 servings per container. But of course, you're going to be taking this at least twice a day. We'll get to that in a minute. First, I want to go through some of these ingredients here. First, we'll start off here at the top, of course. So the Turkish Stanica. Now, I'm not going to give you a thorough examination of all of these things. What I would suggest is you come over here to examine.com, and I'll have these things linked below, and you check it out for yourself. I don't want this video to be boring. I'll just give you some of the highlights. So basically, our Turkish Stanica, that would be something known as an ectosteroid. It's a class of hormones that are androgens of insects. They are involved with reproduction and molting, but human ingestion might be healthy or increase muscle mass. But of course, studies are kind of lacking. They may be effective for increasing protein synthesis rates, which is very important. That's how we're going to gain muscle. And don't confuse muscle protein synthesis with regular protein synthesis. There is a certain amount of protein that you can take in at a given time that could be used for MPS. Now, that's not total body protein needs. Your organs, your skin, hormone production, all kinds of things use protein. But what I'm talking about specifically is muscle protein synthesis. If you don't understand that, head over to Jerry Brandon's channel and check out his video on muscle protein synthesis. Currently, the current studies show about a max of 40 grams, as long as you're training hard, if you're training multiple groups, or in my opinion, if you're training one group of muscles per day, you should shoot for between 30 and 40 grams of protein per meal. The real study dose is between 20 and 40, so I'd suggest 30 to 40. That's just me, though. But back to our Turkish Stanica there. I'll let you read this page yourself, but basically the author of this is saying he can't say very much about supplementation just because there aren't that many studies on it. Okay, but one study is saying that it is as potent as an anabolic androgenic steroid, and animal models do consistently show increased weight. Okay, it does not increase testosterone at all. That's either a blessing or a curse. It increases protein synthesis. So isn't that good enough? Actually, that could be good enough, because if you know anything about myostatin, if you know anything about steroids, then you may think somebody with higher testosterone levels may necessarily gain more muscle. They may, but you have to understand there's a cascade effect of increased testosterone that sets off more muscle protein synthesis, and that in turn inhibits a lot of things such as myostatin, such as a lot of other cascading effects that we're not going to get into here. So if this increases muscle protein synthesis, there should be effect. Okay, but let's go ahead and move on. We're going to hop through the rest of these pretty quickly here. So onto our next ingredient, our carthamoids here. Again, that's another ectosteroid. Okay, thought to promote muscle growth in a non-hormonal manner. All right, which is similar to our first ingredient there. Again, there's not a lot of research on this, but there is some research that, it may be helpful for losing fat, perhaps, and increasing our protein synthesis. We'll go on here to our long jack, or the Tomcat Alley, as it's called here. This is pro-fertility agent, aphrodisiac, and maybe anti-estrogenic, pro-erectile, which it is, by the way. And says lack of evidence for testosterone boosting Some people say there is evidence for it. It really matters who you ask, but it can help as an aphrodisiac for one thing. I think it does help as anti-estrogen. To what extent, I can't tell you without blood tests. But anyway, on to our Quebracho Blanco. I couldn't really find very much about this supplement here. It appears to be pretty much safe, may increase sex drive. It's an alpha-2 androgenic receptor antagonist, so that's very interesting. Could be helpful for sure. But we'll move on here. You can read more about it yourself. So on to our DHB here. So DHB is thought to be responsible for the grapefruit juice effect, although I have read one study that says it's not responsible for the grapefruit juice effect, at least with one certain drug. So I can't tell you exactly. My guess is they included this in here to make everything work better. But again, be aware if you're on other supplements or you're on medical drugs, prescribed drugs, be aware that if they tell you don't take grapefruit juice, you may want to avoid this. Okay, but basically my thought is that they have included this in order to increase absorption to if you read some of the studies here, it says that this prevents oxidative metabolism of certain drugs by the enzyme, resulting in an elevated concentration of the drug in the bloodstream. So that's my guess of why they put it in there, to make the other ingredients work better. But we will move on here. So next up is our methoxy, our isoflavones, basically, R5 and R7 there. One study showed no significant differences were observed in training adaptations. Okay, no significant differences in testosterone, free testosterone, cortisol, things such as that. But again, it always matters where you look. Some people say it is the holy grail of muscle building, that it's completely safe, no androgenic side effects. That's true for all of these things, by the way. Again, it depends on who you look at. But actual studies that I could find pretty much don't show anything. Again, that's what I could find. But there have been other studies that are mentioned. I just don't see them linked anywhere. For example, I'm looking at a page on bodybuilding.com right now, and they're going through a whole list. One of the authors is going through a whole list of, say, cortisol suppressing action. People gained weight, increased protein synthesis, bigger muscles, nitrogen retention, on and on about how good these things are. But I'm not seeing a link to any actual studies. So you kind of just have to take their word for it. All right. So take it with protein because it increases muscle protein synthesis. It could work with no symptoms, with no androgenic side effects. A lot of things here saying that it will gain more lean mass, increase strength, recovery time, reduce recovery times, of course, bone mass, all of that stuff. But again, I don't see any actual studies. But there you go. That's a rundown of the ingredients. All right, so on to the directions. For best results, take 3 capsules twice a day. I emailed the company and asked, do you have any suggestions? Like, sometimes you'll have a supplement that says take in the morning, take before workouts, take after workouts, so on and so forth. There's really no direction here. I want to make sure I give this a fair shot. So I did email them. And if we look over here on the other directions, so do not exceed recommended dosage. Do not use if you're pregnant or nursing. Do not consume with caffeine or stimulants. That's another thing I emailed them about. All right. So, and you can read the rest there if you want to. So anyway, I emailed them about those 2 questions there. And what they wrote back was, I asked them, like, why shouldn't I take this with caffeine? Because I usually have either a lot of, say, iced coffee or a pre-workout. So why shouldn't I take this with caffeine? And they wrote back that, there aren't any stimulants in the MESO FX. They said the reason not to take it with caffeine is basically because, if we get through this, it says that the MESO makes your body run at 100% efficiency. Now, I would take issue with that. It's probably not going to make it run at 100% efficiency. Could it increase efficiency? I guess. I mean, it could increase absorption rates, The grapefruit juice effect, perhaps that would have an effect as well of not getting rid of the caffeine quickly and building up in your system and having side effects that way. So that is basically why they say don't take it with caffeine. They say you can take it, you can take caffeine, just try to take in less to assess your tolerance to it. And basically for the dosages or when to take it, they suggest morning workout, 3 before your workout, then 3 in the evening, or if you work out at night, so 3 in the morning and then 3 before your workout, so on and so forth. And then there's a hardcore dose suggestion of taking it 3 times a day. So 3 before you work out, 3 in the afternoon, 3 in the evening, and adjust depending on whenever you work out. The way I'm taking it is, since I take a pre-workout right now, I take it after I work out, and then I just take it later on in the day. So that's how I'm taking it. All right, but I asked them those questions just to make sure we give this a fair run. So anyway, about some of the claims of the MESO FX, though, they say a lot of guys believe it works similar to prescription-only steroids. Some bodybuilders believe it boosts protein synthesis faster and better than the anabol. All right, 100% legal and available right now without a prescription. And they go on to say about, these are some of the claims here, you can add a solid 3 pounds a month. So a solid 3 pounds of lean mass and lose 3 pounds of fat per month. Now this will give us basically a 1 month supply. So we're going to test this out for the full 28 days or so of it, and we'll see the results. Okay, so you can read through this page as you want. As far as diet goes, if you follow my channel, I'm usually on the anabolic diet. Currently, I'm kind of bulking up, so I'm adding in more carbs. Again, you don't need carbs. I try to go through this all the time. You don't really necessarily need carbs. There's no such thing as an essential carb. You can, however, use them as tools to inhibit protein breakdown. Again, you don't need them. You could just eat more protein and eat more fat. Ketones themselves are very good at inhibiting loss of muscle. So I've explained this before, but carbohydrates are simply cheaper whenever you're bulking. They're simply cheaper. You may add more fat. It really depends on how insulin sensitive you are. And carbs themselves aren't necessarily going to make you fat. It's just, in my opinion, it's easier to get fatter with more carbohydrates just because of the storage hormone of insulin, because of a lot of other factors, because of overeating, how easy it is to overeat carbohydrates. It's very easy to have 10 cookies and 2 or 3 big bowls of ice cream, or 5-6 pieces, or an entire pizza. That's a lot easier than eating a whole lot of hamburger, in my opinion anyway. But anyway, as far as the diet, I'm adding in carbs maybe before the workout and kind of after the workout, and then the meal after the workout of about an hour later or so. And then I try to stay pretty much low carb all day long, and then have some more carbs before bed, just to make sure we have plenty of glycogen in the muscles, and more importantly, plenty of overall calories, just so we can get bigger, because I want to give this a real shot. Again, though, I don't really like suggesting people eat carbs, but they can be tools. Okay, so I don't want you to necessarily be afraid of carbs. So that's going to be the diet. Training wise is about 2 hours a day. Okay, about 2 hours a day. And I like to train 1 body part per day. That's really how I do it. So legs 1 day, chest 1 day, arms 1 day, back 1 day, so on and so forth. Okay. And that's about 2 hours, hour and a half to 2 hours. And then I'll throw cardio in there between 3 and 6 days. I try to keep it a little bit less, just so we're not burning up extra calories. Okay. But I'm the kind of person that has to do some cardio, because I will gain fat in an instant. I also gain muscle pretty easily, but we'll see. Let me go ahead and dump some of these out so you can see the pills there. So that's the pills, not too big. Again, you'll take 3 a day, twice a day. So 3, that's 1 dose, and then 3 is another dose later on in the day. If you want to see what's inside of these, we can do that. Why not, right? Pop this open. We have a sort of a brown colored powder there. So there you go. You can see that there. That's the ingredients in the actual pills. All right, so what do you say we go ahead and wrap this part up? I try not to bore anybody, but I wanted to make sure it was clear what was in here and why it was in here, probably why it was in here. Also wanted to talk a little bit about the science behind it, but who really cares about the science behind it if it works? Now, if it works, I'm not getting blood tests, so there's no way to say 100% it's this. It could be placebo. It could be just coming off of a lower calorie diet and going to a higher calorie diet. But you can kind of tell when something is working. At least I can. At least I think I can. So we're going to try this. We're going to take it twice a day, as directed on the label. We're going to take it for 28 full days. We're going to work out like hell. We're going to go full Sasquatch mode on the weights. So in 28 days, guys, I will be back and we'll see what the results were of the Primal Muscle MESO FX. All right, so we are back. It's been 28 days, actually been about 30 days. This is gone. Primal Muscle MESO FX Formula 454, formerly known as Mesobolin. So what are the results? Well, I mean, you can clearly see not much. So let's just get right into it. Usually I put like a workout montage in these things that I did for like the Epics or the Universal Nutrition. I didn't do that this time just because it was kind of superfluous and I didn't feel like, filming the same stuff over and over. But I did work out 6 days a week, just as I, always do. Weights, and then about, 4, 5, 6 days, throw cardio in there for 20 to 30 minutes. The weight workouts were about 2 hours a day, 6 days a week. Okay, so I put in my time, I put in the work. And also, if you ever follow my channel, I'm usually pretty low carb. I usually follow the anabolic diet. But for this, to test this out, to give it a fair shot, I went high carb, very high carb. We did pack on a lot of weight, but in my opinion, that's mainly from the carbs and just the sheer amount of food. Some days I was getting upwards of 5,000 calories. I backed off that a bit, and I've actually been eating pizza pretty much almost every single day for about a week straight, and I've actually been losing weight eating pizza now. I had to sort of readjust my metabolism because I've been so low carb and so low calorie for so long that it was pretty slow. When I first started to carb up, about a month ago, I gained like 15 pounds in about 2 days, and I was up 25 pounds in like a week. And then it kind of stalled out. So I went from like 225, which is what we were whenever we started this, and went up to 250 in like a week or two. It was just crazy, but I don't think it was this. It was really just the sheer amount of calories and carbohydrates and holding a lot of water. Since then, it's come down quite a bit. We're about 240 right now, so it's come down quite a bit. But have I gained muscle? I mean, let's just get right into it. Have I gained muscle? Yes. Have I done some PRs? Yes. Is it because of this? I just can't say that it is. I can't prove that it's not, but my performance, working out, I didn't feel aggression. It didn't cause any aggression. It didn't cause any other side effects either. It didn't cause heart palpitations or extreme sweating or anything like that. It was kind of just, you took it and you don't really notice anything. At least I didn't. I was eating a lot of calories and plenty of carbs. I mean, 400 or 500 a day, easy. Like I said, I gained muscle. I did start losing weight after about 3 weeks of going higher carb, just because my body had to get used to using carbs again. I sort of held on to them there for about 3 weeks. And I looked like I had GH gut, basically. It was bad. But it's not as bad now. But I don't think it was this. I just can't say it was the MESO FX that helped me put on some muscle, that helped me lift a little bit more weight. I really didn't notice anything at all until about 4 weeks in. I didn't notice anything as far as muscle size, muscle hardness. My muscles do feel harder, a bit larger, but as far as all the claims we saw at the beginning of the video, packing on 3 pounds of muscle and losing 3 pounds of fat, I didn't see that. I'm happy to say that I pretty much look the same, but a little bit stronger. But was it the MESO FX or was it just increasing calories? Well, it could easily be a combination of the two. However, you need to know that the MESO FX, the MSRP of this, is $150. Okay, you can usually find it for like 99 or so on Amazon. And I just can't recommend that to anyone. Now, based on my experience anyway, I cannot recommend that you spend $100 or $150 for something that might give you the slightest of slightest edges, especially when you can find all of the ingredients that we mentioned here. You can find all of these ingredients much cheaper and just buy them in bulk. I'm not saying these ingredients are useless. There are studies, I believe I showed them at the beginning, there are studies that show they can be helpful. But again, $150 and we don't even have the complete amounts of what they are, the complete amounts of each ingredient. I do believe some of the ingredients are helpful. I do believe this does work. It just doesn't work into $150 worth. You know what I'm saying? So I can't really recommend the Primal Muscle MESO FX unless you can find it for about $20, $25. If that's the case, if you can get it for about $25, check it out. It is worth it at $25, possibly 30, but I wouldn't even go that high, to be honest with you. I got this for really cheap. I wasn't paid to do this. I'm not endorsed. Somebody asked me on one video, are you endorsed? No, I'm not endorsed by anyone or anything. I don't have to do reviews of anything. I do whatever the fuck I want to do. And, I just like doing this shit. So this is what I do. So Primal Muscle, MESO FX, formerly Mesobolin, $20, it's worth it at $20. Any more than that, in my opinion, it's not worth it. I'm looking over the claims here. If you want to add slabs of rock hard striated muscle, look at me. Do I look like I added 10 to 20 pounds of hard striated muscle? No, text message. No, I don't. Get jacked. User report, it boosts protein synthesis faster and better than D-ball. Do I look like I've been on a steroid cycle for a month? No, I don't. So these claims, in my opinion, are overblown. Way overblown. Again, I keep getting fucking text messages. Anyway, I might as well wrap this up because I don't want to bore you guys. But basically what I'm saying is don't buy this at $150. My opinion, okay? My opinion, it's not worth it at $150. $20, $30. Okay. Will it help some? Yeah, it'll help some, but very little. Not $150 worth. Just simply not $150 worth. It's just not. Now, Primal Muscle makes some good things. I was also on their pre-workout the whole time and branched chain amino acids, and that helped out. That definitely did help out. But this, again, the MESO FX, I just can't recommend you spend $150 or $100 on this just to try it out, because more than likely the results you get will be not much. Again, the main thing I was hoping to get it was at least some sort of aggression. Other test boosters and things like that, this is not necessarily a test booster, but other test boosters and things I've taken have at least given me some aggression after a couple of weeks to attack the weights harder, more focused, things like that. This didn't do. I didn't feel anything ever when I took this. Never. I didn't feel a damn thing. But like I said, after about 4 weeks, like right after I took my last pill, I was feeling around. I was like, that feels a little bit harder. The muscle feels a little bit larger. It looks a little bit larger. I look okay, not great by any means, but most of that, absolutely most of that, if not 95% of it, is because I've been eating a lot more calories and working my ass off to put the muscle on. And that's, in my opinion, the absolute majority of any results and gains that I got. This was possibly a 5% edge. And if you want to pay $150 for a 5% edge, that's up to you. I'm going to tell you, there's probably other things you can take. I mean, hell, you can find these ingredients, all of these ingredients here, you can find them in bulk a lot cheaper, or you can find them in other products. Well, maybe not all of them, but A lot of them you probably can. Again, if you can't find everything in another product, just buy it in bulk. You know, there are some things here that I do like that are good, but not $150 good. Okay, so I think I'm repeating myself now. Bottom line, MESO FX Formula 454, should you buy it at $150 or at $100 to pack on, you know, rock hard slabs of muscle and to gain 3 pounds of muscle in 4 weeks and lose 3 pounds of fat? No, you should not spend, in my opinion, you should not spend $150 on this to do that. It's more than, in my experience, I got to be careful what I say, of course. But this is all my experience, in my opinion. No, you shouldn't spend that much money on this. There are better things out there. You'd be better off, in my opinion, to spend $150 on protein powders and just stock up and increase your protein intake. And if you want, increase your carb intake. You know, that's up to you. You don't necessarily need a bunch of carbs to gain muscle, but you know, it's cheaper. Carbs are just simply cheaper calories than protein or fat. So up your total calories, up your total protein. Use that $150 for food, protein powders, things like that. And in my opinion, you're going to be right there at the end of 30 days. It's, Jesus Christ, I keep hitting you. Duder, what you doing? Okay. Anyway, you're going to be much better off, in my opinion, buying food, buying protein powder, creatine, all these things that we know works, than buying something like this. Like, I don't want to shit on this because I do believe it works. That's the fine line I want to walk, but it doesn't work $150. You know, it's not $150 of work. It's $20 to $30, my opinion. You know, that's really all I can say about it. So that's my experience with the Mesobolin Primal Muscle MESO FX. Pretty disappointed in it. I was really, of course, we all would want to fucking gain 3 pounds of muscle and lose 3 pounds of fat. Now, did I gain weight? I just told you I gained fucking 25 pounds in like a week, but it wasn't from this. It was just from fucking food and carbs. And then I've lost like 10 pounds since then. And I think this helps some with that. Also, cutting calories helps some with that. You know, I don't like to necessarily shit on a supplement that I know helps some, but $150, man, I can't justify recommending this to any of you guys, especially you younger guys who are coming up and you're looking for that fucking edge. I mean, yeah, I've been doing this for a long time, and I remember going to GNC back in the fucking late 90s or early 2000s and just like spending my entire fucking paycheck on supplements that were really fucking expensive. Some of them actually worked, the things that are illegal now. I don't want to see anyone else do that, you know, saving up all your fucking money to buy something, to buy some claim. And after a month of using it, you realize that you've got, you know, maybe a half a pound more of muscle, but you don't really look that different. You know, it's saying here, get jacked, go hardcore, crush your workouts, noticeable results in 2 to 4 weeks, guarantee, like all this stuff. It's kind of true, but it's just a grain of salt true. You know what I'm saying? It's like, did it work? Yeah, it worked. Barely. You know, it gave you the slightest of slightest edges, not even in the gym, just overall, in my opinion, it did work some. You know, I feel that I've gotten a little more muscle. I can feel the hardness a little more, especially my triceps feel a little bit harder. But again, most of that's going to come from food. Most of that's going to come from just hitting the weights. Nothing like this is going to give you the results of something like this. It's just not going to happen. So spending $150 on this, I'm going to say it for the last time, in my opinion, it's not the best investment you can make. Okay? So that's my review of the Primal Muscle MESO FX. I'm pretty sure I repeated myself 30 times here, but that's okay. Primal Muscle MESO FX Formula 454, formerly Mesobolin. Does it work? Yes. Is it worth $150? No. Does it live up to all its claims? In my opinion, no. Does it help ever so slightly and it's worth $20 to $30? Yes. Do the ingredients have some science behind them? Yes, they do. Some science behind them. but not $150 worth. Okay. So again, you can research these ingredients yourself, buy them in bulk. And in my opinion, you would be better off. But if you got all the money in the world that you want to spend on stuff, then okay, spend $150 on it. And after 4 weeks, you can say, oh, well, it's okay. Not really $150 good, but if you're low to do whatever you want. All right, guys. So Primal Muscle, MESO FX, Formula 454. I can't really recommend this unless you can find it for $20 to $30. I did get some results, but in my opinion, not $150 worth. Okay. So you can check them out at primalmuscle.com. Primal Muscle has a lot of other things that I've tried and that I do like, but this is just not one that I would buy again unless I can get it for about $20, $30 or less. Okay. Primal Muscle, MESO FX.